of choice, and you're going to write your answer in each 4 slots, you know, 4 spaces of your picture. Okay? So we're just going to take about 5 minutes as people are finishing coming in, and just write in the answer 4 questions. Yep, so if this was my paint slat, what is this called? Paint chip. If this is my paint chip, because I picked the purple, my first one is, these are prompts. I consider myself a good, you fill in the blank, at the first one. The second one, I have a natural talent for, fill in. Does everyone have a marker? Raise your hands, always coming around if you need something. These are my Sharpies, so I want them back. The third one is, I'm not the best at. And then the fourth one is, I feel good about. Okay, so you're just going to take a few minutes to fill those out. So we have glasses. Just a little different setup. Okay, and okay. When you're done filling them out, just put your pen down, and Zoe will come around and pick it up. Yes, you're ripping your butt up. Done. Okay. So I think we're now a smaller group. I think I've met a lot of people in here already, but in case you don't know who I am, my name is Lainie Ishiba, and I have CMT 1A. And how I became involved, I'm also a social worker. I have a master's in social work from the University of Michigan. This is my daughter Zoe. She's 17. Before this, which I'll explain in a second, before I got involved with this, I do workshops, or used to do workshops for an organization called Girls Empowered, and social work with adolescents and women, moms, for a long time, talking about self-esteem, assertiveness, and how to live your best life. And a couple of years ago, when I was in, like, I'm 48, I was in a, what am I going to do with my life? Kind of go. Because my kid is 17, my youngest is 15. And I'm like, oh, I've been working part-time. What am I going to do that's going to give me happiness, pleasure, you know? And I wasn't thrilled with doing counseling. I like it, but not enough. I used to write, but I don't love that enough to do that full time. And then lots of people think of me as something resourceful, like, because I wear braces, I've always found shoes to fit my braces, and, you know, little hacks. I think a couple people were talking about some of the hacks that they use. And my mom taught me to put loops inside my pants to help, you know, pull things up, or to pull my debit card out of my wallet. And so a friend of mine was like, why don't you just start a blog and, like, talk about that and having CMT? And I was like, oh, okay. So I did that, and I launched it in December of last year. It's called Trend Able, and you know, the carbon thing and all of that. But it's all just about helping people to invisible, and by invisible I mean physical challenges that aren't always obvious to the visible eye, like the fact that I wear leg braces and I'm accommodating with my body to balance, you know, those kinds of things, to live their best lives. So I never before this really thought about having CMT that much. It just is what it is, you know. My mom was very disabled. I mean, she had a lot of trouble getting out of a chair. I mean, it took like 2 people, but she literally went to lunch every single day with people. And she didn't care that she had to ask people to help. Like, she had, like, before this, if someone said you walk funny, I would be defensive. okay? And so like, I've kind of come together with everything through doing this blog, and the people here at H&F, they kind of found me. Joy did actually online, and I found these women, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they have CMT. They aren't like the people I've met, the 2 people I've met in my life that had CMT, and they're kind of like me, and I like them, and so I was like, oh, well, they are very comfortable with themselves, you know? So I was like, I should really just be embracing this. I'm not trying to be a disability advocate, you know? I'm just trying to live my life, and so I'm helping other people to do the same. So that's why I'm here, and today's workshop is called Assertiveness, and it's about how to ask for help when you need it, okay? And Lisa this morning talked about fueling your confidence, and, you know, confidence is really about knowing who you are. You know, I loved her definition, but the one thing it didn't include that mine will include, which is knowing who you are, both your strengths and the things you're not great at. Like, that's the point. You know, I was a perfectionist forever. I still am perfectionistic, right? But I know that. I own that. Like, there's a lot of things I'm not good at, and there's a lot of things I don't like, including the fact that I wear leg braces. I'm not going to say I love this. Like, I don't like it at all. But it just is what it is. So confidence really is just embracing and knowing who you are. So many of us like don't really even know, like, we don't want to admit that we're not good at something out loud, right? Like, it's like, but we have to know who we are, embrace it, accept our disease. You know, a lot of people are like, Lainie, how can you get up in front of the people and like tell them all? I'm like, because I don't really care anymore. Like, it is what it is. It's not, you know, so you see that I'm getting a little off track, which I'm going to get focused again. But you see that I'm wearing, you know, pants that are covering up my leg braces. And there's a lot of people who follow me online who choose to have the leg braces show. Like, great. Like, that's what they want to do. So I'm not about telling people, like, you know, you have to do this, you have to do that. Like, it's all about just living and being the best you can be. I'm not ashamed of having CMT. Because I have the choice to wear clothes that don't show them, I have that choice, me personally. I just don't choose to let it be my lead with people. So like, the first thing you meet when you see me isn't that. I want you to notice other things, but that's my choice. Other people are like, CMT, go, I'm, you know, good. We need everybody. We need all those people too. Otherwise, like, this disease, you know, won't be cured. So we need all that. So, okay, with that said, I have given you these paint chips, right? And ideally, you were going to walk in your room and you're going to pick a color. And that color, you know, would speak to you. And really, CMT, having CMT, we learned this yesterday by hearing all the panelists, you know, there are so many different types. Even within the type, there's so many different kinds, right? And there's so many shades, right? There's my cool metaphor. Okay, there's so many shades of having this disease and having physical challenges. And so what I had you do is to list these, and you know, we're gonna continue with Lisa's interaction. I realize it's not easy to, like, you know, get up, but if you are able to engage with someone who you do not know very well, that is preferred. Because it would be cool if you left here knowing someone new. And unfortunately, I think the only part of this conference that, you know, it's really up to us. Like, you could have been meeting people, or you couldn't have. Maybe you went to your room. But right now, let's just try to find someone, they might be at our table, that we haven't talked to yet. Okay? Introduce yourself and share one or two of the things that are on your paint sheet. Okay?
Matching color, or
you remember, these are, I'm not having you match your colors, but I would like you to find a complementary color. So whatever you think is complementary. You two know each other, so you know. Yes, and if you are mobile, if you're someone who's able to get up easier, maybe you go to someone who isn't.
if you want to get up, you just kind of just like move around, and then next to each other, like a jacket. Your jacket looks sort of peacock too. Okay.
Okay, we're making like 2 minutes. Okay, you're good. You're 3 minutes. You're good.
Jenny will take it from you now.
Hi, Jenny.
So
What?
we'll keep on switching. Okay. That sounds good. Just, you know what to do.
Join our free course.
We said we'd go to another one.
So the one I'm organizing, you guys ever read that movie? I haven't. Right. Yeah, you know, if you're in New York. No, they give you a curriculum. Eating appropriately. I eat a one meal
You guys all happy? You're all engaged? Yeah. You guys have these, right? Yeah. Okay, they're good. So that's it. Okay, everybody, we're going to stop. If you have a Sharpie, Zoe will come around your gratitude journal that Lisa had and your feel your confidence, it's like thinking, what are the things I am good at? Who am I? What do I stand for? Like, what do I believe in? And who am I? Because that makes it so that you are able to be able to assert yourself, which is what we're going to get into next. So we're going to go with the raising your hand. I'm not going to have you guys move more. Okay. How many of you, by a raise of hands, have ever avoided an activity because of having CMT? Any activity, like any activity. Okay, let's just quickly, like, what's an activity you would avoid? Just anybody who would avoid a marathon. A marathon. Going to the beach. Writing in the grass.
Practicing cursive writing.
Practicing writing. Going to school, like as a kid. I'm gonna repeat what you're saying. Yeah. Anybody in the back? What else might you avoid?
A wedding in the grass.
Oh. A beach wedding. A wedding in the grass. Okay. Yep. Football games. Walking down a hill. So, like, not going down the hill. What do? Stay on the hill?
Roll down it.
Maybe you wouldn't even have gone up the hill, right? That's what you're saying. Okay. Anybody else? Yep. Estella? A concert. Okay. Excellent. How many of you, by a raise of hands, have ever, if you heard my intro, I made up a lot of stories instead of having to explain why I walk funny or am not doing the hill, right? So how many of you, by a raise of hands, have ever made up a story or a lie, which is a story, a lie, about, instead of having to, like, tell someone about your disease? Okay, less people. Yeah, okay, excellent. Who, by a raise of hands, has ever been asked the question I just said? What's wrong with your legs? Or why are you walking funny? Okay.
I get
too much. Okay, so today, what we're going to do, the goal, and maybe some of you are already doing this, which is awesome, so then you can help with some suggestions, is we're going to talk about how you can ask for help and assert yourself, and how it goes over better than other times, and why we don't ask for help, when we need it. What prevents us, what gets in the way, and how we can, like, get over ourselves, right? Because who misses out when we don't, like, ask for the few things? Like, who misses out? We do, right? Like, you don't go. And then that leads to you going home or not going at all and, ruminating about it, I guess, Okay, so there are 4 different styles of communication. And one of those is assertiveness. What's another? Passive. Okay. What's another? Aggressive. What's another one?
Passive aggressive.
Passive aggressive. Who knows passive aggressive? Okay.
Minnesota.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk today about passive, aggressive, and assertive. Passive aggressive is like a whole day's talk. And I'm sure if you know what passive aggressive is, you certainly know, how to deal. Well, or not deal. Okay, we can touch on it if you feel like it. But let's take the example that I gave of what's wrong with your leg. Okay? Can I get 2 people who are interested in helping me here? 2 people to role play. Okay? Can you zoom up this way, or do you want to? Okay, cool. And who else will help? Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay. All right, you guys. This is the deal. We're going to have 2 other people after this, unless no one volunteers, and then they're here for the duration. Okay, so let's take aggressive. Okay, you guys out there, you are going to be the person who's asking her. Okay, hold on. We're just going to be asking her. You're going to walk. What's wrong with your leg? Okay, just like that. What's wrong with your leg?
What's wrong with your leg?
Okay, not yet. You're good. You're perfect. Okay, a passive person. Okay, tell me, what is her body like? Like, how is she standing? No, she's slouched. No, we said aggressive. I'm sorry. How is aggressive? We said aggressive. How is an aggressive person standing?
Hands on hips.
Hands on hips. Okay. How are their eyes? Direct. Maybe like proximity to the person. Okay, like almost really close, like uncomfortably close, right? And like what else? What else can you tell from different, without them even talking, how else can you tell that they're in an aggressive stance?
Their facial.
What is their face doing? What might be?
Grimace.
Grimace. Okay, Troy. Ooh,
I'm good at that.
yes. Okay, so like this person, now remember, all of us have all of these types at different times, right? The point is, what is your go-to? And I'm asking this rhetorically when you're asked a question like, what's wrong with your leg, right? Your go-to is how you normally would respond in that situation. That's probably how you're perceived. So I want to just say that no one is assertive all the time, not even me, although I'm never passive. So assertive or aggressive, right? But no one is everything perfectly at all times. The goal, though, is to try to bring out the one that best makes you feel the best and brings the best results, okay? So you're aggressive. Someone who's aggressive, what is their tone of voice? Loud. And almost yelling. You don't have to do that, but like they're intense, right? They're intense. Okay. So you are going to walk by, like you start down there, okay? And you're just a random person, and you know maybe. Okay. Yeah.
You want me to have an aggressive response?
Okay. Should we have him know her or not know her? I'm going to let you help me. Should not know her, so a stranger, right? Okay. So this is a stranger. Go ahead.
You want my normal response?
No, I want your aggressive response. Okay. Go ahead.
What's wrong with your leg?
What's wrong with your mouth?
I don't think you have any experience with passion. Okay. First of all, let me ask you, what do you automatically feel when you get that kind of response?
I'm scared.
Scared.
Well,
Yeah, I mean that.
But I'm also dominant, especially when someone's looking down at someone as well.
Uh-huh.
It can be a little intimidating.
Well, it makes you feel smaller, right? And do you feel like sorry for this person? Do you feel pity? No, do you feel pity for this person? Like pity. Okay. Do you respect this person? Okay. Do you want to help this person in any way? Like, okay, you're holding that door open for it. You're like, what's wrong with your leg? Like, what do you want to do with that door? Slam it, right? Like, you do not want to help this person because you don't feel good based on how she's talking to you. She's that bitter, disabled person that so many of us like can move into in 2 seconds.
I always have thought about having that don't scare, ask, right? I'm always persuaded to ask what's wrong, right?
Okay.
So what do you say to that?
So we're gonna get to all that because that. So we're gonna get to that. We're gonna absolutely get to that. I want to just demonstrate all the different ways, the passive first, and then we're gonna do that. So hold on to that, okay? But anybody else out there with this aggressive response? Anybody else have anything to add about how you might feel when someone is talking to you that way? How does it make you feel? Is there anything else we're missing?
Angry, yeah.
Angry. Like you want to snap back. You want to be like, hey, I'm not going to swear. Well, I'm just not going to. But, you want to be like, what is your problem, lady? Like, what is wrong with you? You must be bitter. Okay? Another great example is, Estella had brought up about parking in handicap spots or disabled parking. How many times have you heard people, say something like, the people who leave those little, you're not handicapped or, they're like on this crusade. Our aggressive response is, my aggressive response in the past, I should say, has been like, ooh, look at, show them the leverage. See, I am, look at, you blah, blah, blah. Do you think that person hears me? No. Have they, like, am I doing anything to help anybody else? No. Does it feel good for me? No. In the moment it might. No, totally. You're right. In the moment it feels really good, but at the end of the day, like, at the end, those things creep up sideways. So, like, that's when I, am going to the person who's too slow and I'm annoyed and I'm like, in my head, and I'm like, like I'm a bitch, right? Because it's sideways anger. Like I'm really angry at how I behave towards that person because that's not who I am and who I want to be. And because I don't like that, I'm continuing on. It's like okay, thank you, give them a hand. Okay, do I have 2 other people? Or should I continue with my group here? Do I have 2 other people, 2 other volunteers who want to do this? Yes? Oh, good. Okay, good. Bernadette, anybody else? Okay, you're excused. We're not going to say later. Hey, come on up. You. Yeah, you. The 2 of you. Okay, you're in front. You're in front.
Uh-oh.
Up, traffic. Traffic jam. Traffic jam. Okay, so I want you to play opposite roles here, okay? Who would be more, I don't know, it's like a guessing game. Who's more passive? Between the 2 of you, your friends. Rig, she's more passive?
Hell no.
Who's more passive? Regularly. Rick, okay? You're more passive, so this time you are going to be passive, and you're just commenting on, so you're not walking, right? So no one's commenting on that, but what would be something they could say to you that would be a stranger as you pass by, that would be a comment that would irritate you? Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, zoom back. Okay.
Do people
So apparently they do. So yeah. Did you guys hear that back there? No. She said, I said, will you hear me, right? What's a comment that you would get, because you're not going to get your walking funny or whatever. She said, do you really need that share? That's something that's said to her.
And then do you say, well, no, but you're going to when I'm done with you? That would be aggressive.
Okay, so that would be aggressive, right? That's the response would be, I'm going to push you in this chair. Have you ever played bumper? Whatever. Okay, so your passive response, okay, she's in a chair. So the rules are different. A little bit, but not really, because someone can still look really aggressive. Let's pretend. Well, let's go back to aggressive sitting in a chair. Okay? How is her body in a chair? If she is an aggressive, what does her body look like? Let's say she was aggressive. How does it look?
Facial, focused on the eyes. It's more facial.
Okay. Well, also when the body, maybe she's tightening. So people who are like really angry, they're tightening, they're clawing onto something, right? They're like ready to punch or hit, but they're not going to if that's not, them. But every body part, every muscle is tight, like ready to pounce, because they're in that, that natural Darwinian like response of fear, fight or flight response, right? Like they're ready to fight. So their body is like ready to respond aggressively. Passive, okay, let's say she's able to hold her, which she is, her trunk, okay? So how is her trunk? How is her body? How is a passive person's body?
Leaning in.
Leaning back. Or leaning back.
Leaning back? Her shoulders might be hunched. Her shoulders are drooping.
Yep.
She's not sitting upright. Her head is what? Down. How are her eyes?
Looking down.
And okay, let's say she's walking. Is she up close? Right? No. Is she in like regular kind of? No. What is she doing?
She's trying to be invisible.
She's trying to be invisible. Great word. Right. She is like as far away and as little as someone can be. And what does her voice sound like? Meek. And that sounds like what? Okay, now, there's people in here who don't have strong vocal cords. So we're going to get to that too, because I don't want to you can't assume that everyone can, have this voice that's like mine or yours. You have a strong voice too when you want to speak, right? So for this exercise right now, okay, her voice is very meek, very, very soft. A man's voice, when they're passive, it's not high-pitched, it's very soft. You can barely, you're like, what? You can't hear them. It is not It is not confident. It is like, should I even be saying this? It's got a big, big question mark at the end of it without the question mark. It's like, am I even entitled to be on this planet speaking at all, you know? And you can feel it, okay? So let's try. You're in, you're back a little bit, you're right there. You're going to say that comment, and then she responds.
So I'm going to be more.
What? No, you're just a normal person. Like, do you really need that share? Okay, yeah. Go.
That chair.
So maybe she really is passive. Okay, she was right. She just was getting out of there, and that's another. There's our fight or flight right
But
there.
she became passive aggressive because she looked back like.
Right. Well, passive aggressive, which if we have time we'll cover, but passive aggressive when you know someone is totally. You can't be really passive aggressive so much with a stranger because passive aggressive shows up later. That's why I'm not using it. But our family members can be passive aggressive for sure. Our friends can be passive aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah, but doesn't it matter if it's a man or a woman?
You mean how the passive person or the?
How you would respond?
Do you think it matters?
I do. Yeah.
How so? With the passiveness, would you respond differently to a man asking you versus a woman?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, from my generation, probably.
So that's interesting. So because of a traditional why? I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Is it because of patriarchal rules of this person's asking you and you're responding because you're why?
I'm nervous how I'm
Well, I
actually
get nervous when men get aggressive.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Well,
Can you guys all hear, by the way?
No.
Okay. Yeah, well, for the people that are up here that are speaking quietly, it's hard to hear them. Zoe, maybe you could help. Thank you. An extra $1. I mean, the child gets Starbucks. I mean, she's not exactly. She cried. Okay.
it's just a very quick observation that I've made in terms of gender. I kind of picked this up when I was traveling on the road for almost a year. And that is the fact that it seems that maybe in the order of 90% of the time when I've been approached or asked about my legs, it's been by men. And I think, although I'm not sure, but it's a guess, that maybe it's because somehow in men's curiosity, they're whatever, as far as being having manners, just kind of goes up. They're just so curious that they want to find out. And that's my observation. And that with women in general in their approach, again going back to my experience in New York, is more of a sort of a nurturing aspect. And it's not. I never felt that it was truly intrusive. So my responses were more directed at, I guess, men because they're the ones that mostly will ask me.
Okay, but see, this is the thing, is that it doesn't really matter. It's about us and not about them. So for this exercise, it doesn't matter because even if you personally respond differently to different people, we all have different ways we respond based on, that person reminds me of a girl I went to high school with and she was awful. And so because she has blonde hair and blue eyes and was a cheerleader, I automatically, it's like Lisa said with the stories, right? We all have stories. And so we respond to people differently, having nothing to do with the people. Sometimes it has absolutely nothing. My sister is one of those people who asks people random, I hope this is being taped. Okay. Pretend like I didn't say my sister, but yeah, whatever. Okay, so she's one of those people who asks people random things that other people may think are not as how much money do you make? She doesn't mean it. She doesn't mean to be asking. She just asks. Some people have different, levels of like social knowledge and social IQs or whatever. And not everyone who says to us, why are you in that chair, or do you really need to be that chair? Not everyone has bad intentions. Sometimes they are just asking, but the point is it's not about them. It's about our own stuff, okay? So for this exercise, let's get back to the passive. How do you feel, okay, when you, not choose your friend, but you get a reaction that's like, I'm okay, I'm all right. Like, how do you respond to that? Like, how does it make you feel?
Guilty, ashamed that I would do that and make her, have her feel uncomfortable for what I said.
Okay, perfect, because it's like you want to take care of her like a puppy. Like, oh, that poor disabled girl. Like, ooh. And guess what? What is the worst feeling as people who have physical challenge? Like, the worst. Pity. Pity is the worst. There's a friend of mine who's a blogger. I have blogger friends now, people. But anyways, my blogger friend, you guys follow her. Her name is Audra. She's like 10 years younger than me. She's so cool. She has MS, and she uses a rollator, and she has a blog called Tripping on Air. And she wrote this awesome post the other day, and it was about her she wanted a pedicure, and so she was, and she lives in Toronto, so there was these pedicure chairs, and they're up, how ladies are like, and men, my husband gets a pedicure a lot. They're up 3 steps, and you have to some places, I don't go to those places, I go to the ones that are just one level, but she apparently chose to go to one that's 3 steps up. So she could feel in her blog these Lululemon workout women dressing suburban moms all staring at her from behind. She could feel it. But she's been using a walker and a wheelchair for a long time, so she's used to those stairs. But she can feel them behind her, right? She gets into the chair and she goes, would you believe that those bitches started clapping? Like clapping. She's like I'm a child, like I'm an infant, like woohoo! She took her first steps.
Oh my God.
Okay? Audra, unlike, a past, she didn't respond at all, which takes, oh my God, so much strength. It's unbelievable. Had that been me, I don't know if I could have been the same. I probably would have been aggressive in that situation, but she didn't want to be that. She doesn't want to be a bitter, disabled person. She gets it out by writing, and she gets people who relate to her all validating her, and that's how her stress is relieved, right? If you don't write or whatever, there's other ways we can talk about that. But okay, so passive response, we feel sorry for that person, and that does exactly what we don't want, right? That's the exact reaction we do not want. So it is in your best interest to, if you're not an assertive person, to fake it till you make it. To have your body be as straight as you can make it, right? Even in a chair, to have your voice be as strong as it can. And if you do not have a strong voice, it's the eye contact. It is the eye contact. You don't have to have a strong voice. You can have a strong presence. The expression a quiet leader, I'm the loud one. My husband is so passive, but not passively. Such a mild-mannered person. He lets everyone else be heard, but believe me, his presence is heard because he's not speaking. You don't have to, when you are standing 10 feet or sitting 10 feet away, you're not being heard. You want to be out. And so people are feeling like they need to include you and take care of you like a child. Got it? Okay, give them a hand. They did good. Yes. Yes.
Would you say sometimes that these communication styles are nonverbal? You had mentioned about eye contact. Is there an obvious response to be the most assertive response that you can imagine? Because sometimes there's not much you can say. Something I like Cassidy watching him go through bullying and
So what you're doing, so that is such a great thing. And my background is in anti-bullying, like with kids. Like that's what I used to speak on as well. So I want to tell you that in that situation, because we're going to be talking about assertiveness as it relates to asking for help. But you're right, Audra was assertive because she didn't let them see her like being upset. She, in her head, you pick and choose when it's worth it to say something and when it's not. These were strangers. Did she need to turn around and say, you know, you guys, that really made me feel bad, and I wish you wouldn't have done that. That's very assertive, but I don't know if we have to do that with strangers. Like, you know, we don't know them. They don't know us. If you choose to give people an education on disabilities, like that can be assertive. It's done in a way that's not like, you know, blah, blah, blah. It could be, hey, you know, she could have turned to the person next to her in the manicure chair, and she could have been funny and been like, you know, that made me feel like a kid, you know, you guys, like whatever. She could have done that, but you're right. She was assertive by not running away and leaving. Okay? That would be like fleeing. She wasn't aggressive by turning around and being like, you bitches, what she was thinking.
Well, but also that it's a more skillful response because those people, just because they're ableist, they may not understand what it's like to have a disability. And so rather than educate them and make them feel bad, there's nothing that you can say.
Right. But if it's one-on-one, I'm a big believer, especially with like children and teenagers growing up, you never, like ever have a conversation with people about your feelings with a group. Or two, or three, because that's a group. And there's power in numbers, and they all look at each other, and they like have each other as strength. But had that been one woman who, let's say it was just one woman and Audra in that manicure chair, right? And that one woman was like, yay! Okay, then I probably would have turned very, you know, if I was Audra and not me. Because like I said, I would have probably beat the crap out of her. But okay, no, that's not true. But I would not, I don't know how I would have been. That's the truth. Because I'm not in that chair, right? So she, though, if it was one person, okay, you pick and choose your battles, but I think that she's confident enough that she could have been sitting there with the lady picking out polishes and been like, hey, you know, just to let you know, I'm totally fine, but you might not want to like clap the next time you see someone do something because it makes me like people feel less than, it makes people feel bad. And she can just say that or not say that, that's a choice, right? The person may listen or not listen, but that's not your problem. It's about like what you do in our responses. So can I get two people to do assertive? The best one. You want to come back? Come back. How about someone, anybody else? You get to be assertive this time. So that's awesome. Zoe, why don't you help us out? Okay.
I wonder if you just, like the more years you have under your belt with disability, the more years you have under your belt. The first thing I thought was, I wanted her to ask her friend, would she have done the same thing if she were 10 years older?
Are you saying that her response would have been more aggressive?
I think the more years you deal with people like that out in your everyday life, I think it's easier to deal with because you have those years under your belt and a veteran. But it's also, like, I would have bowed or something like that.
You would have made light of it, you're saying?
That's how I am now. Yes,
Okay,
I would
so
have made light of it.
that's an awesome.
That's giving me my power back.
Okay.
That's giving me,
Yeah. Okay. Did you guys hear that? I love the last line. Repeat the last line. The last line slowly.
It gives me power. It brings, it's what I said,
It brings his power back. He said that when he would get up there and confuse Audra, he would have bowed because he's been in this chair a long time. He's used to those comments. He's used to people being dumb and doing dumb things. So he would have just been like, thank you. Okay? Which is a cool, awesome response. But that's about you and who you are as a person. That's not about time or age. There's plenty of really bitter people who've been in chairs their whole lives. And there's plenty of people who aren't. It's about what you choose and how it makes you feel and what you can live with. You feel good being funny, and you know what it does also, besides giving you your power back? The reason it gives you your power back is because you're on an equal plane with people, right? No one's feeling sorry for someone who is able to not self-deprecate. You know, he's not putting himself down and saying, yeah, you know, my mom, many of you know, obviously, she passed away recently, okay? She used to ask all the time, random people, can you help me do this? Can you do this? Can you help me out of this chair? She had a system, watch that, well, someone who's not, like, pretend like you're trying to get out of the chair. She'd say to the waiter, can you put your foot like this? Okay, and then put your foot on top of my foot. And if she put her foot on top of the person's foot, do you see what I'm doing here? She couldn't get out of the chair, she didn't have any strength, but she went out for lunch every day. But her friends are 70 years old, so they too, they all had hip vibration. They can't help her anymore out of the chair, so now she gets the waiter. The waiter's supposed to put his foot here, and there's two people are on each side of her.
Then one person's holding down the
So we gotta remember this. One person's holding down the chair. And she would orchestrate the whole thing. She's like, okay, you hold the chair, you do this. Okay, the guy has like 10 tables. Okay, the guy's got 10 tables, but he's sitting here doing this for like, and I'm like this. Okay, this is before Trendable. Okay, before I became like involved with all these people. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, Mom, like, Jesus, you really have to like ask this person, like, oh my God, I'm like this. She's like, Lainie, what's wrong with you? She's like, he's getting his dip. He's like, I'm having lunch. What is wrong with you? It was so, and this is the best part about her, is she laughed at herself. She'd be like, you know how Zoe said in her thing, that she feels uncomfortable in the hallways at school because she's worried that she's holding up people as she's climbing up the stairs. And how many of us have been there, right? You're walking slowly, and you can feel people behind you. And like, oh God, they must be so impatient. Like, I'm holding everybody up, right? My mom would turn to these people, and she'd be like, I know, I'm like a turtle. Well, what can you do? You know, she made fun of herself, but in a way that you didn't feel sorry for her. You felt like she was just like you. And that's the goal of being assertive, really, and asking for help, is to normalize it for them so that they feel comfortable, but more importantly, so that you feel like you're a human being and not a person who's so decrepit, right? This guy, you, what is your name now? Alex. Like, Alex is cool. Like, I don't feel bad for Alex being in this chair because Alex can take care of himself. You know, if you met Alex on the street, you'd be like, who's that cool, handsome dude? Right? But I'm telling you, listen, everybody's different. I'm telling you what I would think. And the reason I would think that is because you look me right in the eyes, because you are not meek, because you have your own identity, not having to do with the share, right? You wear a cool ring. I'm like looking at you, not at your share, right? Because you're so much more than that. So, okay, so assertive. A person who's assertive, how would they be standing or sitting? So we show us standing. Okay. Yeah, Alex, show us sitting. Okay, that's how you stand and that's how you sit. Okay, and an assertive person's eyes are where? If I'm who they're talking to. They're looking right at me. And they're not staring in an uncomfortable, creepy way, right? Like they're blinking, but they're returning right back. So when you're talking to someone and they're staring at that, it's because they're thinking or they're nervous, and you make them nervous. They're looking down. You know, an assertive person is just looking you right in the eyes. And this is the best part about an assertive person, because we talked about what your negatives are, right? An assertive person might even own that they're uncomfortable. This feels so uncomfortable. I'm standing in front of you all, and I feel so uncomfortable. I'm not shy saying that. I'm like owning the fact that I'm a human being, right? Like, I go to the gym. We talked about the gym. I take off my braces because I I wear them all the time. I have to. I lift up my pant leg. I can see a couple women like, oh, I didn't even know she was wearing this. I have a choice. I cannot go to the gym because that's really uncomfortable. It does make me uncomfortable. That doesn't change for me. Okay, maybe it changes but it doesn't. For me right now, it hasn't changed. I've been wearing braces for 20 years. It's a long time. It hasn't changed. It still feels uncomfortable. But I'm not ashamed. It just feels uncomfortable. So I have to own that. I feel uncomfortable. And then I can say, okay, what am I going to do about it? Nothing. I'm just going to still go to the gym, you know? And then I have a choice if someone asks me about the braces, which that's what we're talking about. It's when someone asks you and someone sees something, someone notices something, how you respond, and then we're going to get into asking for help when you need it. Okay, so let's just do a quick assertiveness. You're the person who is assertive. You are just saying, hey, right, what's about the chair thing, okay? Like you're meeting your stranger. You're going to hold the door open for him, okay? You go by, okay? Hold the door. You say to him,
Why are you in that chair?
Oh, Alex. Alex. What was that? Aggressive. And why was that aggressive? Well, wait, first of all, how did that make you feel, Zoe? Well, first a little bit. I was just kind of, taking that little scared. Okay, back up again. That was aggressive because even though his body language was okay, like you didn't look aggressive, your words didn't match your body. Our words have to match our bodies. So, she's saying this to you, and remember, we have to have empathy for other people too. It isn't always about us. She may be asking for 10 million reasons. You want to know some of the reasons she might be asking? She might have a family member who's in a wheelchair. She might notice that you have something that her family member has. She might be worried because the doctor just told her 10 minutes before that she had MS, and God forbid. Okay. But like something might happen to make her ask that question that might have absolutely nothing for her to do with her being socially inappropriate. Right? We have to have empathy for other people too. Okay, so can we be assertive? Okay, let's try one more time. Okay, no. What would be? Someone tell me how would you help him? What would be an assertive response, Estella?
I would probably respond to that. You ever heard of right?
Okay, say, and maybe you say it like this. Hey, yeah, I have a disease called Charcot-Marie too. And that's it. If you want to do that.
You want to take it for a spin?
Or you may say, maybe you don't want to even tell them. You don't have to. You can still be assertive and not tell them the whole thing. You can just say, yeah, hey, what we talked about before with me lying about the ski accident. I wasn't ready. I didn't want to tell everybody about Charcot-Marie. I don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to. If it's your good friend, I think it's a good idea. But to a stranger, it's up to you. You can just say, you know what, I have a thing. I have a thing.
Couldn't he just say, I get tired when I walk long distances?
Yeah, he can say whatever he wants. The point is he's not saying with anger.
Right.
And he's not saying it to make someone feel bad for asking. And he's not saying it as a bitter, disabled person. He's saying it as a person. Okay? Okay, go for it. You're going to open the door.
Why are you in that chair?
I have CMT. Do you have any questions about it?
How did it affect you?
It's been a hard thing in my life. Like you, I was able to walk and stuff, and unfortunately, there was a point. I'm a big guy. I wasn't able to kind of walk anymore. It was very dangerous for me.
Okay, excellent. Give him a hand, because that was awesome. As an assertive person, if this person right here, Alex, wanted to, if he needed help, we want to respond to someone who we feel like we relate to, right? We want to take care and pity the person who needs help, like literally needs help. But we respect this person. It could be us. It could be our dad. It could be our brother. It could be anybody we know, because Alex is relatable. That's the whole point. He's relatable. Like, okay, this sucks. I don't feel sorry for you. Well, maybe I do feel sorry for you, but I'm not going to let you know that I feel sorry for you. Because I wouldn't want someone to feel sorry for me, so I'm going to treat you like a person.
I think that's something special people have, especially people with disabilities. That's something special we eventually learn having a disability about people not feeling sorry for other people. Because you want to be independent, and I think it's just a special gift that we end up receiving along the line. You understand what that is.
Thank you. Give him a hand, you guys. That's awesome. Okay, how are we? Okay, so I'm going to just do quick. We went, okay, 5 minutes? 5 minutes? Okay. So we talked about quickly, aggressive, assertive, whatever. Let's just take one example from the audience without role playing up here. What is something that you might ask for help with or need something? Okay, let's take actually, I'm sorry. Let's give the example of what's one that happens a lot, like for people, that they avoid an activity when they could have asked someone to help them with something. I have one if you can't think of it. Yeah. Walking downstairs. Okay, perfect example. Is that one that's relatable to people? Okay, so how would someone help you though? What would you need from someone? Let me just ask you that. Because my mom wouldn't need, like, first of all, she didn't do stairs, but like I use the handrail, but you're saying if there's no handrail or what? Right, maybe no handrail. Okay. Okay, is that a good one for everybody? Everyone can relate because we only have one. Yeah. Okay, so let's take the example of walking down the stairs. Okay, let's say you're with a friend. We want our friends to be friends with us, but remember, you have as much to offer your friends as they have to offer to you. You are not a burden unless you're a burden. You're offering things to your friends. The people who don't want, okay, I don't know how to say this in a nice way, so I'll just say it. But you have to make an effort too, right? When I hear people say, "Oh, I don't want to burden my friends," but are you a friend of them? Have you asked them how their day was? Have you asked them how they're feeling? It shouldn't be about you all the time. If it's about you all the time, that's not a friendship. That's like a caregiver, right? So a caregiver that's not your friend. You are as much a friend to them as they are to you, so it doesn't feel like a burden because you're giving to them as well, okay? Your friends want you to be with them. They're not just inviting you just because you're you're not the passive person they need to take care of. They want to be with you because you offer them more than just, slowing them a little bit down.